Does it say in here make a sandwich in the kitchen?
We'll get to that.
Yes! Starting now. Hi guys, it's Daniel here.
Jordan!
Alright.
Today we are going to study a passage in the Bible together, so you can pull out your Bibles if you have one. We're going to look at Proverbs 31. We're going to look at 10 verses within Proverbs 31, which teach women, or taught women, how they should perform in their household. And I'm going to say how women would do these things now, and then you can talk about how that makes men feel, or why men appreciate that, or why it's important for men to look for that quality in a woman.
Does it say in here make a sandwich in the kitchen?
We'll get to that.
Yes!
It's important to note that when you're building a dating relationship, or you're courting, or you're building a relationship for marriage, it's important to note that yes, you may not be able to encompass all of these at that time, but it's important to work towards these things, or set the foundation for these things. It's never too early to start setting the foundation for a strong marriage or a strong relationship. So yes, you may not be able to do all these things together, but I can do things in my own life that then will translate into our marriage once we actually are married. So it's important to know these things before you are married. It's not important to be oh, well, now I'm married, so let me study this. It's important to study it beforehand as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for a guy to study this too. So he not only knows what to look for in a woman, but you can sort of see what's expected of the man from seeing what's expected of the woman.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reasons I like this passage so much is because sort of where I see myself to be a housewife, be a stay-at-home mom. So when I came across this, I was intrigued by all that I should entail for my husband, future husband. So what I did with my Bible is I sort of journaled, I don't know what is proper, sort of journaled in it what the different verses meant. So the first one is homemaking. So
What verse is that?
Proverbs 31:27. She carefully watches everything in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. So basically, to me this means that a woman should take care of her household, because the man is the one who's out providing for the household, so she should take care of the household.
Personally, I guess it would be nice to, I guess for everyone really, it's good to come home and the house is clean and everything, but also I feel this isn't strictly your wife has to stay home and clean the house and do all the chores and everything, but also it's her responsibility to do some of that, while the husband's responsibility is to help her out with some of that as well.
Yeah. So even if it's just finding a happy medium, she should be helping. She shouldn't just be providing for the family. That's the route she decides to go. The second one is industry. So 31:18. She makes sure her dwellings are profiter, her lamp burns late into the night. So if there was a need for the wife to make a profit, she could find something at home to make a profit of, and she would make sure that she did all that she could to make a profit and bring home what she needed for the household. So I see a lot of people doing this today. A lot of people, stay-at-home moms, will find ways to make a little bit of extra money while they're at home with the kids, so that they are comfortable and can provide for their children.
Yep. And I think that just helps out with making sure it doesn't look like one person's bringing all the money, and they kind of get selfish with that. It's just kind of it makes it look more 50-50 rather than the man's bringing in all the money. I don't know.
And also, ultimately for me, a lot of this means to me, I maybe not take it so literally as it was back in the day, but it just means like the wife does her part to make life as less stressful as it can be for her husband.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's sort of the context in which I think of these all in. So the third one is time, 31:25. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. So I sort of see this as being a strong role model and just being a support for your husband, a role model for your kids, just knowing that the days to come are not fearful and that you should not worry, but just go through your daily life, and that time will come and you'll get through anything that you have to go through as a family. The fourth one, beauty, 31:30. Charm is deceitful and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. So this one to me is pretty self-explanatory. If a woman is in the Word, praises the Lord, is active in her faith, like that is beauty more so than looks or charm or anything it could ever be. It's characteristic over charm.
Yeah, and I think your like a woman's beauty increases the more that you both are active in the faith. I mean, obviously you get older and you don't look as good, so the more you kind of look at her beauty, the less your relationship is going to be strong, and the more you look at like what she's actually doing for the Lord, and like that's more attractive in the end than looking good.
Is it important to seek someone who has that relationship with the Lord?
Well, I mean, in the Bible it states that you don't want to be in a relationship that's unevenly yoked. So if she's like iffy about her faith and you're very strong as the man, like faithfully, you should avoid that relationship. But if you can't, then it's your duty to make the relationship yoked evenly. So I think that ties into verse 18 a little bit as well, with her doing some of the work, and you doing, as the man, doing some of the work. Beauty's just not that important. I mean, sometimes it's what gets your foot in the door, but if they're not faithful Christians, then either try to make them a Christian, and if you can't, step out of the relationship. It's not worth it. It's not a godly relationship then. And it'll bring a lot more pain than it will joy.
Number 5 is mothering. That's 31:28-29. Her children stand and bless her. Her husband praises her. There are many virtuous and capable women in the world, but you surpass them all. So, to me, that sort of looks like not only having children, but teaching your children your same values and your same beliefs, so that they can stand with you in the Word and in what you're doing. Number 6 is health, 31:17. She's energetic, strong, and a hard worker. I mean, I pretty much think that says it all. I think just like have purpose in what you're doing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the household, but like if you have a career or if you're pursuing something outside of the household, like just have a purpose for doing that and work hard, have a good work ethic, and make it purposeful. Number 7 is marriage, so 31:11-12. Her husband can trust her and she will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. So, obviously, trust is very important in any relationship, so you want to act as if you're trustworthy and be trustworthy for your husband. It's hard for me because I've been studying theories all day, but there's this thing called the social comparison theory, or the social exchange theory. So basically, when you go into a relationship, you seek a profit. So basically, I give to him and he gives to me. So it's important that what I give to him enriches his life. So if it's giving him seeds to grow his faith or just giving him food to keep him strong, like there's multiple different ways you can enrich his life. Brings him good, not harm. There's no point in being harmful to your husband. That's only going to hurt both of you in the long run. It's not just going to hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
And all the days of your life. I don't know, that's what a marriage is every day, all day. That's what you should strive for.
Yeah.
The next one, 8, finances, which is 31:14 to 15. She is like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plans the day works for her servant girls. So for me, this means providing the meals for the family, like cooking, but
Making sandwiches in the
making
kitchen.
sandwiches. I told you it was gonna come in. The way to a man's heart is by food, and they truly mean that. And the way to a girl's heart is also food. I don't know why Noah talks about it, but I love food just as much as he does. But
I'm pretty sure I love it more.
Who gets hungrier and angrier when you're on TV? Because you're more passionate about it than they don't like otherwise. Okay. Let's just skip that.
So for me, like, it would mean literal, like, cooking of the meals, getting the food. But it can also mean, like, going and getting the groceries when your husband can't, or providing the money for groceries if your husband decides to be a stay-at-home dad. Like, there are multiple ways to look at this if you're deciding to not go the now not traditional, but go the route of a stay-at-home wife, mom. 9 being service, just 31:20. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. This is important for many reasons. Just helping people is very important, and that's how you reach them with the word of God and the love of God. But it's also important to, like,
I mean, it's basically the great commandment. Go out and make disciples.
yeah, but
So that's a way to do it.
yes.
And women are being called to do that right here.
But it's also good to be like a good role model and set that role model for your children.
Yeah, you're living like Christ in that passage,
Yeah.
in that verse. Just a good way of showing people that you're a godly woman. Just helping people.
Yes.
Like Christ helped people.
Number 10 is faith. So 31:10. Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She is more precious than rubies. So virtue is more important, like we said earlier, over charm or looks or anything. Like, it's important to seek someone, both for me and for you and for men and women. It's important to seek someone with virtue, meaning that they believe in what you believe.
Yeah. I mean, to me, overall, this whole passage it emphasizes a very strong woman who can, like, do stuff, like, doesn't necessarily need a male in their life to be a godly woman. Like, this isn't like you have to be married to do these things. Like, this is just a woman in general who's providing all these things and having these characteristics. And I mean, to a man, this passage looks very, as a man myself, this passage looks very, like, appealing. Like, I would love my wife to do all these things. But obviously knowing that, no one's perfect, so she's not going to be able to do, like, Jordan's not going to be able to do all these things and, like, never sleep, but,
Watch me.
I just feel like that would be really draining for her, for me to expect all this from her. So from a guy's perspective, it's good to commend her. Like, I'm pretty sure it says somewhere, like,
Reward her for all she has done.
Yeah, verse 31, honor her for all her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So basically, just reading this passage as a man, recognizing these things that she's called to do as a woman, and then commending her for it when she does it is very important.
Where it says reward her for all she has done, it doesn't say do not reward her if she doesn't do all of these things. Like, if she does one of these things, reward her. Like,
Yeah.
it's not it's not necessary to do all of these things, and not every woman can do all these things. But situationally, you should be doing as much as you can to fulfill these rules. For yourself and for others. It's not just for your husband, but it's also to benefit yourself. What's one thing that you've noticed that I've done in our relationship now to prepare to do that when we're married? Give a worldly example. A real life example.
Well, I'm pretty sure I mentioned a lot of those things in our
You did?
proposal video.
Watch our proposal video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of the things that I said I loved about you were qualities that were from here. Like feeding me.
and not myself.
Feeding me, taking care of me, letting me go when I need to be let go. I don't know.
Okay.
Wait.
That was the one.
Oh, providing, like getting a job and stuff. You work very hard. She works very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard.
Just kidding. Say it again.
I'll say it again. Jordan works Jordan works very hard.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Not just in school, but in everything she does.
I find this passage to be kind of like motivation almost.
That's what I'm saying.
Like-
It looks like a freaking...
It motivates me to be the best that I possibly can.
Like-
Proverbs is just so good. If you haven't studied Proverbs, like, study Proverbs.
Study Proverbs.
If you have any other passages that you want us to go in depth with, like the how to be a godly man, let us know.
Yes.
I'm also
Questions, obviously, is always
would people be?
encouraged.
Do you think would you guys be interested in like reading through books together? Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe.
Leave a comment. Seriously, leave recommendations. We're up for anything.
Yes.
Something fun because Dan wants to do something fun.
Yeah, I want to do a fun video.